In the mountains of the western states, between 5,000 and 10,000 feet in elevation, small groves of aspen trees often stand like shimmering oases on the mountain slopes. Many hikers have enjoyed walks through these groves, but few have ever noticed or stopped to study the secret stories that are hidden amongst the trees. Stories literally carved in the bark, revealing a part of the history of the Basque people's settling of the West.
You know what they say, that you don't see sometimes the forest because of the trees? You can go right through the aspen forest and not see the carvings. Most people do that. But I wrote a book with the title Speaking Through the Aspens. And that's what the carvings do. They speak for the sheep herders in their own voice because nobody else wrote about them. Nobody else cared about them.
The Basque were first lured from their European homeland to California, Nevada by the gold rush in the 1850s. But once their get-rich-quick schemes failed, many would turn to making a living by using their old world skills of raising sheep.
If you want prestige, you run cattle and a big hat. If you want money, you run sheep. And the reason is the sheep has two incomes, give you two incomes. The wool, which at that time was very important, a strategic material, and lambs. But the early herders, Basque herders, wanted to be their own bosses. They didn't take wages. They took sheep instead of wages. And so after a couple of years, they had maybe 1,000 ewes. And they struck out on their own because back then this land was open. This is before the Forest Service, before BLM.
Solitary Basque shepherds would spend long, lonely summers in high-elevation meadows, and more often than not, set camp among the stands of aspen. Using the bark of the aspen as their canvas, they would carve names, dates, messages to each other, poetry, and occasionally sensuous fantasies of women they were longing for. Jose Maea Olaechi, of Basque descent, has written 5 books on the Basque carvings in the West, and made it his life's work to document and interpret the words and pictures that Basque sheep herders have left behind. Today, Jose has climbed to an old aspen grove on Peavine Mountain, just north of Reno, Nevada, to study the arborglyphs.
I finally arrived to the main grove on Peavine Mountain. This is where the last surviving tree carvings carved by Basque shepherders are. So let's go take a look. I can't wait. All these big trees are carved. This one says Gino Touch, 1927. Says another Jean Barnett. I don't see the year. We got Urrutia over there, 45. We got Valencia here in the 60s. We have here Pierre Lanatua, 1951. There's another Pierre Lanatua over there. And here we have Paul, Charlie Paul, a German guy. He was here in 1901, and he's still herding sheep in 1945. So here is the P, A, U, and the L is on the other side. And the date 1, 9, 2, and 1. He has lots of carved trees on this area. Here we have another one much later, like 1960s, Johnny His last name is Savalegi, and his hometown is here, Lerga. Johnny was the bartender at Louis Bass Corner for about 30 years. Now, let's go to the next one. And here is Justo Sarria. He put in there his hometown. He told me he was never on this mountain, but somebody carved that. And here we have the sheep camp. This is what it was, because there's a spring in there. Right here. Okay, so this is the sheep camp. It's not just a little camp, it's a big camp. It's outdoors anyway. So here we have whose camp this was. So this carving says BASQO, Basco. So this is a Basque camp. And the date is here, very old, over 100 years, 1915, 1915. This tree must be at least 130 years or more. However, they don't last forever, and this is an ephemeral product that we are looking at here, on which history is carved on. So, look at this tree. Down. It had carvings too, but now it's not going to last very long. But I'll show you what it has. Very interesting carving. EUSKOTARRA, Euskotara, which means ethnically and Basque by politics too, ethnically and nationalistically Basque. And there's a date in there, 62, because you're not going to find this kind of statement in 1915, only in the 60s, 50s, later on. And now we are going to proceed to another tree that proves beyond a shadow of doubt that this was a camp, because here is the carver telling us, over there. So this is our last tree in our short tour, and in 1951 there was a carver, a herder, a Basque herder here facing this tree. Here's Pierre and La Natua, and here is the year 1951, and here is Reno, big letters. And he carved this, Gosho da Itzalian, which means in English, it is nice in the shade. So, folks, you're looking at the biggest little secret in the West. The tree carvings are all over the West, but who knows anything about them? So please, if you come across one while you are enjoying the forest of aspens, don't harm them. Take pictures of them, and that saves them for the future. Thank you. The tree carvings are nothing more and nothing less than an outdoor library, a museum of sheep herding history, 100 years of it, history that no one had written, and the shepherds wrote their own history, so to speak. And as I like to say, it is the most believable history because they had no editors, no censors. They could print on the tree anything they wanted to say.
Joko